Hey everybody, it's Jory here with my wife Leudy. I know you guys have seen her in actually past videos, at least one, where she shared her story about her testimony about her leg being miraculously healed. We're having the opportunity now. We've been really excited, been talking about this, about just sitting down with you guys and sharing what Nomundo Jewett is all about.
Nomundo.
First of all, probably some of you are wondering, what is Nomundo in the first place? Well, I'm going to refer to my wife, who's Brazilian, who actually came up with the name. So go ahead.
Nomundo just means we are in this world, but because when I think we are in this world, but I think too we're in this world, but we're not from this world. And Nomundo is this: we're here. But always come to this other phrase, like we're here, but we're not from this place.
You know, Paul talked about Jesus saying that we are ambassadors for Christ, that we're actually from a heavenly kingdom. We're here on earth to be ambassadors to, and what do ambassadors do? They represent the one who has sent them, and they give the message. They talk the message of that leader. They live, they walk, and they act, and they breathe everything about and represent that kingdom and that person and the desires and the privileges and the things they want enforced. That's what they do. And ambassadors, as ambassadors of Jesus, that's what we feel our heart is to do on this earth. We're not of this world, but we're in this world. And as we're in this world, we have a purpose and we have a mission, we have a calling. And our hearts are to fulfill that in this world. And we believe that part of that is through social media, through YouTube. Both of us have had a heart for a long time to use media to share the good news of Jesus Christ. For me, all my life I've been around music, and I've been writing songs and songs that not only worship songs, but also songs that share the gospel. And I've had the opportunity throughout the years to record those and put them on CDs and I've been blessed to minister around the world, not even only in English, but also singing in other languages. And with Leudy's had a passion for photography for many years. I remember when I first met you, you had stacks and stacks of National Geographic in your room. But share a little bit more about that, because it's not just photography, but also video.
Yeah, I really enjoy to record and to put in pictures something I live. I think this started my life when I was in Africa. Because I was there and then I don't have a camera in the time, and I was thinking, I wish I have a camera to take a picture and to record what I'm living here. And I remember God giving me a camera. I was there for a long time, and after 1 year I got this camera and I took a picture for everything. And this is when I started picturing my life, take a picture, make videos, and this is what I love to do.
First of all, some of you guys may be looking behind us and maybe hearing sounds in the background going, where are you guys? Well, we're not out in the middle of the jungle. We are we're right here in Northwest Missouri. That's a camper behind us. We'll get to that a little bit later in the story. And you might be hearing coyotes right now. It's like, why are you recording at night? Well, right now we have been blessed with 4 amazing people in our lives, 4 children, 2 boys, 2 girls, and 3 of them were good enough to go to bed. But one of them, he wanted to be famous. And so Barnabas is here with us, hanging out as we share our story. And we just wanted to give some background and kind of lead into what the future of Nomundo Jewett is on YouTube. Not just YouTube, but Instagram, social media. When you scroll through, and I've noticed when you scroll through, and we've talked about this, just scrolling through YouTube and scrolling through all these things, there's just a lot of junk. There's just a lot of stuff that's just worthless. It has no benefit to your life. It has nothing that benefits you, even in the natural, but even in the supernatural, just nothing. And we want to flood social media. And that's, Jesus said, go and preach the gospel. He said, go and preach the gospel. Well, the funny thing is we're finding out there is actually a digital world, and there's like a digital nation, and that's where people are. That's where their ears are. That's where their eyes are. And we want to flood those platforms with the truth. I had a message that's actually on our banner on our YouTube, and it says, we want to help people win by making truth popular. Jesus said, the truth shall set you free. If you know the truth, it will set you free. So we want to share truth through so many different aspects. We've already been posting things about, I've been doing some devotions. We've shared some testimonies. But I just want to kind of give a background. I was born again when I was 18 years old. Just had a radical encounter with Jesus, and it changed my life forever. Addictions were broken in my life, and I just wanted to do anything I could for Jesus. I wanted to go and do whatever I needed to do for Jesus. He was worthy of it. And then, then Leudy, she was saved before. You were 15, and share a little bit about that. A little bit, about how it all started for you.
Yeah, I started to go in church when I was young, but I never have this compromise with God. And when I was 15, this is when I decided I want Jesus in my life, and this is when I started to be very strong and radical for Jesus. And this right time too was when Jesus starts to tell me about go to the mission field. And this is when I started, I was 15 years old, and I was radical with this decision in my life. I was just in school and have bad things happen there, but I decided to be different, and this is what I did.
Yeah, and I think I have to backtrack a little bit because I think this is a really powerful part of your story. Actually goes into our story. Is at the age of 12 or 13.
Oh yeah, when I was 12.
When you were 12, you found your father had died. You actually were the one that found him at the age of 12.
Yeah.
And, that can be a very traumatic experience for anyone, losing their father, but not just losing him, but being the one who finds them, but the age of 12 finding him. You could have been traumatized the rest of your life. It could have been something you carried the rest of your life. And that, what we found is, as you share a lot, even as you went on your journey, and we've seen the journey change, but one thing you've always had a constant message with is, He's my Father. God is my Father. And it's almost like God took the baton. When your dad passed, God came into your life, and God didn't just come into your life as God or Lord or King. He came in, He showed you His Father's heart, and that's how your life started with Him. And I know I've heard you preach. I've heard you from day one that I met you. It's always been about He's a good Father, and the story actually came right back to me. Is when I got saved, I had a radical encounter with the good Father. That God wasn't just God, He wasn't just Lord, He wasn't King. He was the good Father. And He loved me, and He wanted to take care of me. And in that moment, and I said yes to Him, He broke every addiction that was in my life, every chain in my life, and I was free. It's a real freedom, and I can't even explain it, but it was real in that moment. So both of us were set on this path that we never knew at that time that we were ever going to get to a place where we were going to cross paths. Also, we didn't even know each other existed. But, Leudy was called into missions, and she went into Africa. I was finishing school, and I got sent to Australia by the Lord. But while I was in Australia, the Lord called me to West Africa, and just for a brief, maybe a month, we met. And I remember that story because I remember I laughed because actually, and if Janine's watching, my DTS leader, she was always saying when we were having talks, I was like, I'm really distracted. And she's like, why? It's like, there's a girl here, and I just can't stop thinking about her. And I was like, am I wrong? And she's like, oh, it's okay, don't worry about it, But it was just funny because, I was always watching you and, just like, and she said she was watching me too. I didn't know. I got to think she was ignoring me. But, it's funny because you'd be like, it was just a month. You guys are married now. It's like, it didn't just, it wasn't like we just got married right then. No, there's so much more to the story. But I remember there was one moment. At that moment when it happened, I don't know what would have happened, but we were in the city once every couple of weeks or whatever. You get to go to the city where you can do your emails and communicate with family back home. And my team went, and your little group went. And I remember that we were all staying in the same house, and we would bypass each other. She didn't speak English. I didn't speak any Portuguese. We had a friend, a mutual friend we connected with, her best friend, but a friend I had kind of connected with because her friend spoke English. And so I talked to her friend, and Leudy would kind of linger around, and she was just mesmerized by that beautiful American. We go out one day in the city, and my group wants to shop, and I'm not sure what Leody's group's doing, but something happens where I get separated from my group, and the Portuguese guy's named Cesar, he says, hey, why don't you go with these two and I'll go find your group. I said, okay. So I ended up going to sit down with Leudy and her best friend Jenny, and we shared a lunch together. Actually, Leudy bought me lunch, and so I realized the whole reason we got married is because I had to go back and repay her for lunch. That was the whole reason. No,
I have a plan.
Yeah, she had a plan. She had a strategy. But we ended up having lunch together, and of course, I was like, hey, it was just a great lunch, even though Jenny was kind of translating everything we were saying. But I remember just, hey, we should stay in contact. We should all stay in touch. Now, honestly, I've confessed this to Jenny and Leudy over the time. It's like I really didn't care about Jenny's email. I just wanted to get Leody's email. And so we got information. We connected. But it was actually good that I got Jenny's email because I would never have gotten in touch with you when what happened. But
Yep.
you know, we went our separate ways. She ended up living there a little bit longer, and I actually went off into another part of the trip and ended up back in Australia, and then back into America, and then for 7 years, right? 7 years, we just kind of emailed back and forth, just kind of, and it wasn't like weekly. It was like, you know, I'd email. Then a couple months later, you'd email me back. And at first it was just, you know, just sharing what God was doing in our lives. You know, I remember you talking about you wanted to go to South Africa to learn English, I think, at one time. Actually, I think you even discussed going to Australia, where I was, to do that. And, you know, and just, it went on for a while. Then just, you know, time went on. You know, I was serving in my church. You went back to Brazil in
2008.
And because God had called you to go to college.
To college.
For what?
For communication.
For communication, you know. And so she went back home, and that was a big transition, because she was loving it. She loved Africa. Actually, she kept saying to me when we were first talking, it's like, I'm not going to marry anyone who's not called to Africa. I remember her saying that to me. I was like, oh, really? And so we went on, kept communicating. Well, then there was a point where your email got hacked, and I lost communication with you for maybe a year or two. And you know, I was bummed. I really enjoyed talking to this girl. I mean, she was just, her heart for God, her love for people, and it was just it was nothing, you know, too strong, but we just enjoyed each other, talking to each other, and I'd lost contact with her. And so 2 years, I kind of got into the workforce. I was working for a pest control company and was doing that for a while. And then it was actually interesting. I've been going 7 years with the Lord. And, what's up, buddy? You okay?
Cold.
So 7 years went by, and you know, and I'm working, just kind of focused on the church I'm planted in and stuff and everything. Well, then I actually went to a wedding, and I remember going to this wedding, and at the wedding I met this girl, and she was a Christian, and we kind of started talking on the phone, and I started having this idea. I was like, you know, I haven't even thought about dating for 7 years. I've just been walking with God, you know, and I think this is a really cool part about our stories. Both of us were doing that. We weren't looking around. We were like, Lord, send me a husband. Lord, send me a wife. We were just doing what God had us doing in that moment in our lives, and we were just walking the path God had for us. And I remember I was about to ask this girl. I was like, you know, I wonder if I can ask her on a date. Maybe I don't even know, a date or whatever you want to call it, but I wanted to maybe take her out for coffee or something. And we're about the exact time I was about to ask her that, you emailed me. And I was so freaked out. I was like, wait, what? I haven't talked to this girl in 2 years, and I was so excited that you had contacted me and stuff. And I just remember just stopping everything I was doing that night after I read the email, and I just went outside to this I remember the trampoline, where it was. I remember just sitting down and praying and saying, God, what do you want for my life? I didn't say, what girl do you want me to marry? I didn't say any of that stuff. I just said, what do you want for my life? What do you want me to do now? Where am I going and stuff? And that's when he said, your name. And I felt like he said, like it was the Father giving me the blessing to say, you can pursue this girl. And, you know, and here she is in Brazil, I'm in America, and it's like, this is crazy, you know. And I just remember, I didn't just immediately call you and say, hey, God says you're supposed to marry me. I didn't say anything for a long time, you know. And we just started talking, and for maybe another year, we started communicating more and stuff, and we eventually we both were determined to learn each other's languages, so we started practicing more. There was a friendship that was growing, and again, we're both just kind of still doing that while we're pursuing God. And I was starting to really want to know where this was going and stuff. And I remember asking my pastor, and I was waiting for my pastor to say, yeah, you're nuts, you shouldn't be talking to this girl, you know, you haven't seen her in 7 years. And I was like, yeah, just tell me that so I can stop this. And he wouldn't do that, you know. He's like, I don't have any check in my spirit. You know, we weren't two people talking on the internet that had never met each other before. You know, we knew each other, we've been talking for years, and praying together, you know. And so finally we started talking with audio, right? And then
after
videos. I remember the first time we talked audio, because we thought we practiced our languages, we're ready to talk. And I remember you connecting to your internet, and I hear hello, and I was like, I thought it was the computer just like testing, and I was like hello, and you go hello, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's her. I haven't heard her voice in 7 years. And then I realized I don't know how to speak Portuguese anymore. And
okay, now I'm cold.
It's a magic trick. The baby's gone. He didn't feel like he wanted to stay up anymore, so he had to go to bed. This is the fun challenge of trying to film and try to give you guys quality with kids, but you know what? It's worth it. I was sharing about how, you know, I was feeling like I was crazy about even considering the idea that I might like this girl, and that this might be someone I may want to pursue for marriage. And just when I had that time thinking about it, I thought it was crazy. And I mean, you were in Brazil and you're talking to me. I'm sure you probably had thoughts too.
Yeah. For me, the weird thing is like to be far away from somebody and feeling something different.
Yeah.
And for me, it was complete, I don't know, challenge.
Well, it's funny for you. You said even that you had friends. They were all like, their dream was to marry an American.
Yeah.
And you were like, I don't care.
Yeah, I have like a friends. They say, "Oh, I wish I can meet this man from America." 'Cause I never think about that. And I'm here.
I was just like, I was just seeking my pastor all the time, asking him, saying, am I on the right track? And I'm praying, and I'm trying to be very cautious about what I'm doing here, because this is real. So many people, so young people are just saying, I love him, we're gonna get married and stuff, and it's just like so quick, and I'm like, I'm not saying it's not the one, but I'm just like, it's not the way that it was done for us, and so it's just like, man, this is a lifetime commitment, and we live in a culture now that, it's like, you can try out marriage, and stuff, and that's not how we saw it. It's like, it was for life, and it was a decision that wasn't to be taken lightly, and I just remember Pastor gave me this book, and it was a book about like Christian, like doing relationships like the Christian way, and I never liked relationship books as a Christian, because I just felt like they reminded me of all the bad things I did in the past, and but this book, the only thing I remember out of the whole book was the author just said, you need to be honest up front about how you feel, because you don't want to go down the path a long ways and then find out that they didn't feel the same way. So I remember next video call, I just said, hey, I just want you to know, I don't even know what this means, but I like you. And I used to type, no, you were saying it first, weren't you? Because you were saying, I like you. You were spelling it L-A-K-E. You were like, I like you. Eu lago você.
My good English.
Yeah, I was like, I like you. But yeah, I like you too. And we're like, now what?
Yeah, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, what do we do now? And I think we made a decision. We weren't like, we're boyfriend and girlfriend, but we're like, we're not single anymore.
Yeah, we have a compromise.
Yeah, we made a commitment.
Yeah, to
pray together.
And yeah, we did this.
And so we started that path. And I remember there was a point where I decided I was going to share my testimony with you, just be completely open with you, and just share, where I've come from, what Jesus has done. And it was a big step, and I shared it with you, and I remember you weren't ready to share yours with me yet. And I was okay with that. I wasn't doing it. It's like, well, I said it, now you have to say it,
Yeah.
And I remember that was more of a struggle for you at first.
Yeah, it was. And this was something nobody knew about. It's like I was praying with God and say, God, I just gonna share my story with somebody who I know is somebody you have for me. Like I don't want to share my story with somebody like, we don't have
just
this
passing by.
Yeah. I want to be able to know is a time to share, is a time to share what's happened in my life and what Jesus did for me.
I think for you it was, I didn't push the subject, but I remember I could tell that there was still an injury in your past. Like there was something that still, like it was a thorn still in your past. And also maybe like you didn't know that it was there, but you were like, as I heard you talk, it was like, hey, you don't have to carry this the rest of your life,
Yeah.
And I remember I just said, can I pray with you? And I didn't even know what I was praying for. I'm just going to pray. And I prayed for you. And I remember we were doing this online. I remember opening my eyes and you were gone. And I was like, where'd she go? And you were bawling. You were just crying,
Yeah.
I was like, uh-oh, what did I do?
Yeah. Yeah, because you talk about redemption,
Redemption. Forgiveness.
And
restoration.
This was very strong for me because I started to see like God starts to show me, hey, this is the man, and I was like, I don't know, I'm not sure, and thank you, Jesus.
I think that's a big part of it with us was, it's like, it's not just about Jesus forgiving our sins. He actually says that he makes us a new creature. you know, and that's so real. It's a real thing. Like my addictions, like that old man died that day, and he did something in me. And so it's like this whole past, you know, the enemy always wants to remind you of your past. The devil wants to remind you of your past. It's like you're not worthy of Jesus. And it's like, that's not what it's about. Jesus is worthy, and he did it. And he didn't, like I said, he didn't just forgive us. He brought a transformation in our lives. And he does, it's like, you know, the past doesn't have to hold you back from forgiveness and redemption and healing. It's ready right now, you know.
Yeah.
And then I think that was the moment you said, no, was that the moment you said you knew you loved me, or I can't remember when.
What?
What was the moment? You said there was a moment. That was the moment you said, this is the man.
Oh,
Was it then, or?
I think it was there, yeah. No, was there? No. Because when in this day I decided I'm not always ready, but I went to pray. I was alone in my house this day, and I went to pray, and God told me, God gave me peace to do that.
Share your testimony.
Yeah. Then I wrote,
it's not even a testimony. It's just share your, share your story. You know. It's,
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
because
To be completely
sometimes,
honest.
sometimes you don't want to. Sometimes no, it's good you don't go to
Too deep.
in your relationship with somebody, you know. But I have peace, and after I did that, you sent me this beautiful song you were singing. And
Yeah, but before that, we hadn't got that far yet. You were like very nervous because you know that shame tried to creep back in. You know, it's like, what if I tell him this? What if he's like, you know what? I'm good. I don't want this anymore. You know. And I remember reading your testimony, and I was so full of joy. Not because of wow, look at that. It was that person's dead. That is not the girl I know now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like wow, how great is God? How great his transformation power in someone's life? Because I'm reading, I'm like, I don't know who that is. That's not her, you know. And that was, I was so excited. I went away for like 2 days and didn't respond to your email. Yeah. And you were like waiting for like a couple days for me to respond back. Oh no, he's gone, you know. And I remember sitting at my grandma Donna's, just telling her about just how incredible you are and what God has done in your life and how great His salvation is. And my grandma's like, oh cool. So what did you say to her? I was like, oh, I didn't email her, you know. So I remember going to tell you, you're like, I think you were like, I don't know what I said to you, but you're like, so you read it? I was like, yeah. And you're like, and I was like, I want to marry you.
yeah,
Something like that.
I don't care what's happened.
I'm in.
I know you're a new person.
Yeah, I want this
so.
person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to spend the rest of my life with this person.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, that was it. And so then we decided it was time. 7 years is long enough.
Yeah.
We need to see each other. You know, so we started discussing me coming to Brazil. And so I started preparing. I was living alone. I just decided, I bought some tickets. I'd work in my job, and I bought tickets to fly down there, and I flew down without telling you when I was coming.
Yep. No, like I knew you were gonna come,
Yeah,
but
we were
not the
at some
date.
point.
I don't know.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm coming soon. Well, because we were discussing we were gonna go on a mission trip together.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, so yeah, you're coming for that. But it's like I didn't say the specific time and day, and so I showed up at your house after spending 3 days in airports and airlines to get there, and in this sketchy Guyana country, you know. And I remember getting to your door.
Confusable. You're talking, I'm shaking.
So the journey of us even just trying to film this one story out here in the middle of the night while the kids are sleeping, the wind's blowing, knocking our equipment over. It's just like, oh my gosh.
And I'm shaking, I'm cold.
My wife's cold. It's like for you guys, because we love you and we believe this story is just that can be such an encouragement in your life. Oh, but I'm just I'm sitting there, and and I get to her house, and it looks like she's not there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, no, I came all this way and she's not here. But ended up you were just sleeping.
Yeah, I was sleeping. And my mom was waking me up, said, Leudy, Joy is here. I said, no, Mom, you're joking. No, Joy is here. And I went there to the door, and he was there. It's
7
crazy.
years.
7 years. And
But you know, what I always remembered about that was the fact that since we, you know, a lot of people, like, you know, when you just start doing all the physical, like the physicals there right at the beginning and stuff, I see people that says, oh, we're in love, we're going to get married, and then they're divorced a couple years later, you know, And the thing is, like, it was so interesting when the first 7 years when we sat down. It wasn't even like, because people first have that moment together. They're like, they're kind of nervous. Like, can we hold hands? Can we? What should I say? I'm nervous about doing this around them. It was like, because we'd spent so much time praying together and so much time just in the Word, and just there was no physical anything. It was just truth and Jesus. And when we sat together for the first time in 7 years, it wasn't even awkward. It wasn't even hard. Mm-hmm. It was like we'd known each other our whole lives. Yeah, pure. Yeah, yep. I think that's a great line to say. And so we started that journey. I was there for a month, I think. We went on a mission trip together, which was horrible. Sorry, Pastor Thomas.
It's a good story. Not for now, but it's a good story.
Well, I mean, it was just for me. It's like I went down here to see this girl, and this mission trip, like I literally, like, she was off somewhere else the whole trip, and I was like mixing concrete for this guy the whole time, and it was like hot, and I was just like, didn't speak the language. It was definitely a great learning process for me. It's like, it's like, do you want to spend the rest of your life with this girl? Like, because I mean, you were so busy.
Yep.
You were so involved. Like, her church didn't have a pastor at the time, so you and like 2 others were kind of leading the church and stuff. And like, even when I came back the second year, you were just constantly gone. Every time I come and say, hey, hang out, it's like someone would call her. It's like, I need therapy, I need counseling now. It's like, so she would leave and she'd be gone all night or whatever, and stuff. And I come to visit, and
you passed the test, Mo.
I did pass the test, I think.
Yeah, that's a big test.
But but what happened was, is at the end of the first trip, it was funny because I was only there a month. So we really, in life, we'd only been around each other physically. In the sense, when I say physically, I mean sitting together, I can see each other. We waited till we were married, but it was really interesting. About 2 months, really, of our lives, we had been around each other. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the second month, I had asked you to marry me. And so I didn't have any. I was nauseous, but it was like just that surreal moment. But I wasn't scared you were going to say no.
You was scared.
No, I wasn't scared.
Oh.
It was. I knew you were going to say yes. Because we talked so much. We'd just been on this journey for 7 years. We've been on this journey together, really laying a foundation of what our life was going to be like together and stuff. And I remember I do come back to that whole thing. You're like, I'm not going to marry anybody who's not called to Africa. And it's funny because the nations are my heart. I want to go to the nations, but I was like, it wasn't just. It's like Africa, yes, but not just Africa, Mm-hmm. And so I said, well, that dream's too small for me. I think I was kind of like, that's. Yeah. I was like, I want bigger, and I remember you always share that Psalms 37, verse 4 or 5, 4, verse 4. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He gives you the desires of your heart. I remember telling you, I was like, well, that's not the whole verse. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I said, it's delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. Man, that's been our life. Just so we got married, and there's a whole story there. And we'll do. I think we'll do another video on our that month of our wedding with my parents, and just how God just showed up. And that'll be a later video, but it's a good story, and God is so good. But we were led into. We were praying about where do you want us, God? What's, as a married couple, what are we supposed to do with our lives, And right from the beginning, it was, actually, I think if we look back and now that we see what we feel we're called to do, is we went to Guyana, and we were a part of something in Guyana that we didn't know we were going to be a part of. And we got to see, God had used us in a church there to strengthen people and encourage people and help people get out of some very hard things that they were going through. And then we just noticed God kept just connecting us, just putting us around people. And we were with families for a long time. We'd be with this family, And we just had the opportunity to encourage people and just see them come closer. God, see them win. Like I said earlier, see them. We want to see people win. And they're going to win with God. And we saw people that were, the devil was just kicking them around, but we just go on, we just share simple truths with them, and we see them walk out of the darkness into the light and see victory in their lives. And we started to see that was what God was calling us to do in our lives, and we just love connecting with people, and that's our heart.
Yeah, this is something we before we got married, we did.
Yeah. So we look back on our lives with people. Yeah.
Talk about this and dream about this, and this is what we really want to do, is connect with people, connect with different churches too. We never was just one church and just one way, but we always look for something different too inside of the church and to connect to different churches too and to bless them. And
yeah, we've been so blessed. We've ministered in multiple denominations, you know, and it's funny because we've been in denominations because of the relationship, the bridges we've built with people and families and pastors. They know what we believe, they know what we preach, and they're still like, I still want you to come stand in our pulpit and preach.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, and the thing is that maybe when we're sitting around alone with them, they're like, I don't really agree with that, but I've seen the fruit in your lives. I've seen what you preach, and I've seen the fruit of it, and you know, and I don't see anything. Maybe it's not that they disagree with us. It's just more that it's like maybe they don't see it exactly the way we see it, but they still allow us to just love on people. And that's the thing, is we want to love on people. We want to see them win. And I think about what Paul said to the Romans when he said, I want to come to Rome. I want to come to Rome because I want to strengthen you. I want you to be edified, and you know, to share that mutual faith we both have and be blessed by it. You know, and we are. You know, I think of some families we've connected with over the years. God has made such a bond with them, and even to this day, we haven't seen them in years, but we could go back tomorrow, and it's going to be an incredible time with them. Yeah, their family. So our heart is to connect with people, and we want to see people win. And so, and we know there's stories out there, and we're taking a step of faith. Right now, we are currently in Balka, Missouri. We're serving a local church, but we're excited because in June we're going to step out in faith for at least a month, and we're gonna go on a trip. And it's kind of fourfold. There's so many different folds to it. One is we want to connect with people. We want to connect with the church. We want to connect with ministries and hear their story. Go out and be amongst their ministry and capture what they're doing and encourage people. We want to also draw closer as a family. My wife sent me a video. She's been sending me videos for years as I've been at work. You know, it's like, oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do this. But she sends me a lot of videos, just these families that are just together, and they're either in a, you know, and they're not in a big house. They're out on the road. They're traveling, but they're kids, and I see the love, and it's like, and I heard someone say when it was a Christian family who were doing this, and they said, you know, we have, I don't know how many kids, say they had 6 kids. They said we have 6 disciples. That hit me hard. I was like, I have 4 disciples. You know, we actually have we have 4 kids. Whom we love dearly, and there's Maria, who is our oldest. She was born back in 2017. Her name, you know, we
Maria Clara.
Maria Clara. We named her after, you know, that she was going to give Jesus to the world. You know, we believe that, you know, and it's funny, even now we see her all the time, you know, it's like she'll just be some random stranger, like, do you love Jesus? I love it. I love when she does that. There's just a boldness to her. And then after her came John.
Just about Maria, like she said to her grandpa the other day, she said, oh, grandpa, do you go to church?
Yeah.
You go to church with us?
Yeah.
He's just laughing. And she's talking about Jesus for everybody.
And then we have John Christopher, was born in 2018. I think he was our biggest baby.
Yeah.
But
Big baby.
John is the disciple whom Jesus loved. He is a kid that loves people, and he loves to let people know he loves them. He just always going around going, I love you. I love you. And it's funny because you could be kind of getting on to him, you know, kind of giving it to him straight, and he'd be like, Dad, what? I love you.
Yes. Sometimes
that's kind of breaks you.
I'm around this, I don't know, chaos situation, kids cry or somebody poop, something like that, and John come to me and look at me like, Mommy, I love you. This breaks me, yeah.
And then we have Anna Lou was born in 2020. Yeah, she was born in 2020. And she is our bold little Spitfire. She's the boss. And we got her name after the prophetess Anna, you know, and she declared in Jerusalem his coming and stuff, and we believe that Anna is going to be bold. And then we got Barnabas. And Barnabas is named after the Apostle Barnabas, you know, the son of encouragement. And one thing we've noticed about Barnabas is even though he's not even a year old yet, he smiles and giggles more than any kid we've ever had. And our kids are full of joy, but man, at his age, he smiles so much, and he is such a joy to us. But one thing we want to do is God has given us these kids, and we want to finish well with them, you know, and we want to be there for them. We want to grow with them. I always said I don't want to, you know, walk my daughter down the aisle and be like, where did the time go? Where was I? And I don't want to be that. And so that's part of this new journey of our lives. We want to step out and spend more time together as a family, do things together, go on this adventure together, and grow. I want to grow as a father. I want to grow as a husband. And I'm excited for it. And we want to share that journey with you guys, starting, we've already started in a way, but it's just kind of been my face, but I want to show you what our family's doing with our life and, what God's doing and the calling on our lives. And we want to let you guys tag along and be a part of the journey.
Yep.
Yeah. And so we were debt free, and we decided, we weren't really sure how we wanted. We're still, we're not sure how God's going to take this and where He's going to take it. We know we do have a sense to go and get out there and connect with stuff. And so we kind of took this first step and we bought this baby. We didn't name it yet. I don't know if we have a name for it yet.
Not yet.
No, not yet. But it's perfect. I love it. And so it's like, you have 4 kids and you're living in a 25-foot camper. I thought when we first parked it the first night we slept here, I thought it was going to be chaos. But I love it. Yeah. And we've been here a while now.
Yep.
And we're excited to get it on the road and stuff. But it's perfect. We got it for way lower than what it's valued at, but everything works in it. We actually started sleeping in it when it was still cold. As you can see, my wife is shivering right now because we're outside and it's not quite spring yet. My wife's from Brazil, so she likes it nice and hot. And but everything works on it. There's bunk beds for the kids. And the kids love to be outside. They love to explore, and so we don't spend a lot of time inside. As soon as it's decent out, we're outside. I love coming home and they're all, my kids are covered in mud, and they're like, Daddy! And it's a new season. We're excited for it. We want to share it with you guys. So if you're not a part of this, we encourage you to subscribe, share this. We're going to be traveling. We're going to be just seeing God. We believe God's going to do some mighty things through this channel. If you are subscribed, we thank you so much for your support. Get the message out there because we know that this is going to bless people. We know that the gospel and the truth can set people free, and we want to just flood social media with it.
Yeah, I just do that, guys, and we believe in family is something strong, and we need to put all strength in this too. And I don't know what I'm saying. Sorry.
It's time for bed.
Sorry, my head starts to beat. But no, but it's this. I believe that this is a time we too, like I said, we want to do this long time. But I think time is
the Holy Spirit's leading.
Yeah, the Holy Spirit leading us, and we believe that this is a time when we will have something to share strong for you guys and for your family, to bless your family, to bless you. And
there's some stories we're already excited about. There's some people we're going to connect with. There's some ministries we're going to connect with, and we're excited about those. Yeah. But I believe it's bigger than we can even imagine what we're going to do with this and stuff. And like I said, we've already heard some amazing stories. I'll have some buttons on the top. You can, Leudy shares her story about how she was healed miraculously of a broken leg. And our brother Chad sharing his story about how he was freed from alcohol addiction. My brother Luke also sharing his story of how he almost lost his job because of an injury, but God miraculously healed him in his wrist, instantly, so he could go back to work and he wouldn't lose his job. A friend of ours giving her testimony about being healed of MS, and getting her life back. And even the doctor saying, I don't know what you're doing, but it's working, so keep doing it. And she's like, all I got's Jesus. And these are amazing stories, and they're real stories. And like I said, if you're not Christian, if you're not saved, it's like, just follow us on the journey. It's like, we just want to, we've told people, it's like, we've met people that disagree with us, but we just want to love on you. And we've noticed that there's something that's like, I don't agree with what you're doing. Maybe I don't agree with what you're doing, but I don't think the same as you, and I don't believe the same as you. But I'm watching your life, and I'm seeing the fruit of it, and so I'm curious. And we just, we dare you, we encourage you, just tag along with us on this journey. It's going to be fun. It's going to be crazy, and God is good. We want to see you guys win.
Amen.
We love you guys. God bless. Let's go inside. Actually,
it's cold.
You gotta help me tear down.
It's so cold, Mom. I cannot.